What is the verb form of the noun abstention? Abstain. What do we call the Times New Roman in Word? Typeface/font. When a company's financial status is improved, do its revenues decrease or increase? Increase. Is plastic or paper easier to recycle? Paper. What is the term for the political line that separates two nations? Border. Which of the following represents a strong economy? High employment or low unemployment? Low unemployment. A person who wishes to throw his establishment. Anarchist. What is the process of teaching and learning called? Education. What is the hard object in the center of peaches, apples, and pears? Seeds? How do you describe the line that divides a circle in two pieces? Chord. What do you call a group of mountains? Range.
Which part of our body does a gastroscope look into? Stomach. What do you call a word formed from the first letters of other words? Acronym. What do we call the building that doctors and nurses work in? Hospital clinic. What do you call the food made without applying chemicals or artificial additives? Organic food. What is the item of footwear intended to protect and comfort human foot? Shoes, socks. How do we call the young horse? Pony foal. Which one would you most likely to see in the lake, a swan or a crocodile? Swan. Where can we find the page numbers of books? Footer. What is the name of male sheep? Ram. How many years are there in a bicentennial? 200. When a person's blood alcohol content is higher than the standard range, what activity are they not allowed to do? Driving. What is the opposite of ending in a film or movie? Prologue. What is the phrase used to describe the way something repeatedly increases and decreases? Ebb and flow. What do you call a doctor specialized in eye treatments? Oculist. Ophthalmologist. What do we call famous people? Celebrity. What do we call a city in a country that is responsible to govern it? Political capital. What is the act of jumping into the water? Diving. What would a person do usually on sabbatical? Study. Travel. Do scapegoats escape or undertake the crime? Undertake. Unions work for who, workers or managers? Workers.
If you ask someone how old they are, what do you want to know? Age. What is the chemical used to ripen fruits? Ethylene gas. What are the celebrations like Christmas, Easter, Thanksgiving, etc. called by a joint name? Festivals. What is a line that gradually bends like part of a circle? Curve/arc. What is glass made from? Sand. What do you call the money you pay for speeding on the road? Fine. What do you call a leave which is taken for a general reason? Casual leave. What do we call the document in which a political party announces their plans before elections? Manifesto. What is the storyline or the series of scenes of novels, movies, short stories, or plays? Plot. What do you call your nephew's dad? Brother.
What do we call the largest land animal living in Africa or India? Elephant. What do we call a belief or set of beliefs held by a religious group? Creed. Doctrine. Tenet. Where do we conduct experiments? Laboratory. Which part of a train produces the power that pulls the train? Locomotive. What job is concerned with instructing actors while producing a film or movie? Director. If you want to have a cup of coffee without milk or cream, what kind of coffee should you order? Black coffee. What do we call the type of book that has a stiff hardcover? Hardcover. hardback. What color do tree leaves usually turn in autumn? Yellow. What is the largest lake in the world? Caspian. When a runner runs, what is this state of breathing? Gas.
An impression or a mark on a surface left by a person who walked by is called footprint, footmark. What is the sour-tasting seasoning liquid called? Vinegar. According to some religions, what is the perfect place where people are said to go when they die? Paradise, heaven. Which of the two words is used to describe a thin person, slim or stocky? Slim. What is the term used to define the value that a particular coin or a bill has? Denomination. How do you make food or drink go down your throat into your stomach? Swallow. What is the chemical that is used for destroying plants, especially weeds? Herbicides. How do we describe materials that are able to conduct electricity? Conductive. What do we call a group of islands? Archipelago. What do we call the story a person tells to make people laugh? Joke.
What do we call the nails on the end of a cat's foot? Claw paw. Which kind of dance is related to swans? Ballet. What do we call a long-running race of about 42 kilometers or 26 miles? Marathon. A secret plan made by a group to do something unlawful or harmful is called conspiracy, plot. If you were sick, would you eat a popsicle or medicine? Medicine. Where would you write your personal experiences, in a diary or in a ledger? Diary. The upper part of a leg is known as thigh. What is the loss of a potential benefit called when a decision to choose another alternative is made? Opportunity cost. What is the upper structure that covers and protects a building? Roof. A person who writes biographies of others is called biographer. What is the process called when you send a rocket into space? Launch. A river that flows into a larger river is called tributary.
What handicap equipment is used for broken legs? Crutch walking stick. What are wine glasses and spectacles made of? Glass. What do you call the country where you were born? Motherland, homeland. What do we call the activity of taking out weeds from the ground? Weeding. What is the opposite of emigrate? Immigrate. What do we call the colored liquid for writing, drawing, and printing? Ink. What do we call the jewelry worn around your wrist? Bracelet. What do we call a covering of very thin transparent material worn by a bride to hide her face? Veil. What is the back part of your foot that is below your ankle? Heel. What do we call the equipment used to make things look bigger? Magnifier. How do we call animals or plants living or growing in natural conditions? Wild. What is the short form of a word or expression? Abbreviation.
What is a small stick made of wood or cardboard that is used for lighting a fire? Match. What do we call the people whose job is to make clothes for individual customers? Dressmaker tailor. What is the small shiny white ball that forms inside the shell of oyster? Pearl marguerite. What do we call the war between groups of people in the same country? Civil war. Which tool with narrow pointed teeth do we use to make our hair neat? Comb. Which word do we use to describe 3 times? Triple, treble, threefold. What do we call the glass at the front of a car? Windscreen, windshield. What do we call the periods of time when schools and colleges are closed? Vacation. What is the custom of being married to only one person at a time? Monogamy. What is the opposite of retail? Wholesale.
What is it that a train moves along? Track. What is the opposite of forwards? Backwards. What do we call a person who is waiting for doing something? Standby. Which piece of equipment is used to control the direction of ships? Rudders. Where do ships load and unload goods or find shelter from storms? Port, harbor. Which one is a psychologist good at, surgery or therapy? Therapy. Who is the person who shares the same room with you? Roommate. What do we call a diagram in which an object would appear to viewers if it were cut from top to bottom? Section. What do we call a person who studies mystery? Mystic. Occult. What is the antonym of innocent? Guilty. Who is in charge of a ship? Captain. What is opposite of bitter? Sweet. What do we use to rest our heads on in bed? Pillow. What do we call a person who leaves college before finishing the studies? Dropout. What do we call a room just below the roof of a house, often used for storing things? Attic loft. What material is normally used to make windows and light bulbs? Glass. When a runner runs, what is the state of breathing? Gasp. What do we call the money an employer pay an employee because of the damage caused in work? Compensation. What do we call the opposite of destiny? Free will. What do we call a piece of artificial hair worn by a judge in some courts of law? Hairpiece wig. What do we call a device that cuts grass? Mower. What is the opposite of damp? Dry. When you want to include a picture or other file into an email, what will you do? Attach. What do we call the story a person tells to make people laugh? Joke. What do we call the hair that covers the body of sheep? Wool fleece. Who invented the general theory of relativity? Einstein, Albert Einstein. Who invented Arabic numerals? Indians, Hindus. What's the name of the ocean between America and Europe? Atlantic. What can we use for typing? Keyboard. What animal is the national treasure in China? Panda. What is the final step of a bakery? Icing topping. Where did the first industrial revolution happen? England. How many states are there in America? 50. How many lines are there in a sonnet? 14. How many circles are there on the Olympic flag? 5. What is the capital letter P for in the street? Parking. What includes everything in the world, such as stars and planets? Universe, cosmos. What do you call the device with two or more blades turning quickly to cause a ship or an airplane to move? Propeller. What do you call a person who lives permanently? Immortal. What do you call the largest main stem of a tree from which the branches grow? Trunk. What do we call the action of expressing disapproval of somebody or opinions about someone's faults and bad qualities? Criticisms, critique. What do we call a state of being untidy, badly prepared, or badly organized? Disorder. What device enables you to change television channels at a distance? Remote control. Which part of a tree grows under the ground and absorbs nutrients and water from the soil? Root. What do we call the outer covering of a tree? Bark. What do we call the agreement between two groups of people to stop fighting or arguing for a short time? Truce fire. Which word can mean both color and fruit, red, orange, or purple? Orange. What do we call the process in which people move to a foreign country in order to live and work permanently? Immigration. What term can we apply to describe the amount of water in the air? Moisture. Where are penguins mainly found? Antarctic South Pole. What do we call the tools that the Chinese people typically use to pick up the foods when eating? Chopsticks. What do we call property someone owns to others in a will? Heritage. What color do trees usually turn in autumn? Yellow. What is the memory for UFO? Unidentified flying object. What do we call a lot of things in a short time in preparation for an exam? Cram. What is the monster to show one or more letters have been left out? Apostrophe. What do we call a notice, picture, or film telling people about a product or service? Advertisement. What do you call your uncle's son? Cousin. How many legs does a tripod have? 3. What do eyes produce while crying? Tears. What do you call a person who fights against the government? Rebel. What do you call a book containing writings on a particular theme? Compilation. How do you describe the products that can be used for a long time without breaking or getting weaker? Durable. What do you call a noun that is made of two or more words, such as greenhouse, bookshop, and deadline? Compound. Which medical instrument will a doctor use for putting drugs into a patient's body? Syringe. How do you describe the food that is not cooked? Raw. What is the collective name for cups, bowls, and bottles. Container. What is the opposite of false? True/correct. What do you call the act of joining two or more separate companies into one? Merger. What is the row of bones down your back? Spine backbone.
Like, share and subscribe the channel for upcoming videos and also press the bell icon for notifications.